What's up, guys? How's everyone doing today? Johnny here, JSB Insiders. What's up? Hopefully, you guys are doing good. Guys, join our professional betting community, JSB Insiders. The link is pinned right there. We launch it in August. We're a growing community. It's not just boxing, it's all pro sports. We just surpassed 350 JSB Insiders. So you could either join on Patreon or join here on YouTube. Whichever one you join, same price, gets you into the Discord. I say thank you for all of the supports. And we have a busy week. If you guys haven't hit notifications yet on the channel, do that. The reason for that, so you can be notified when I upload new videos, when we go live. I just uploaded 2 Stats Don't Lie videos today. That's under my fight prediction playlist. Those Stats Don't Lie videos are the breakdown, prediction, and analysis one. So we've done Carlos Adames versus Ammo Williams. I just uploaded that. That's why I was a little late. I'm about 20 minutes late. I was supposed to go live 20 minutes ago, but it was uploading. And then I also uploaded Josh Kelly versus Bakram Murtazaev. And then we got a bunch more. The Shakur fight. We got, we're going to get into all of it. So as you guys are tapping in, let me know where you're tapping in from, and we could get into this. I'm going to pull up the odds. We're going to see if the sports book has let us do some, if they've given us more fights. Oh, yeah, Don Julio. What's cracking? I love that icon, by the way. Alexis Arguello versus Duran. Man, one of my favorite fights was Ray Mancini versus Alexis Arguello. Ray was 21, 22 years old, maybe 20 when he fought Alexis Arguello. Think about that. Think about how crazy, how like the era of boxing just kind of ebbs and flows. In this modern era, you have a guy like, Keyshawn who's 26, and at 26, you might be like, he's figuring out who he is. And then in some eras, I mean, think about, Wilfredo Benitez, world champion at 17. And then, Ray Mancini at 20, 21 fighting Alexis Arguello. It's just interesting to see, how times in boxing eras change. And this is why I always say you can't compare eras. It's not fair to compare fighters. But to answer your question, what's my take on William Skull versus Jacob Bank? I'm leaning on Skull right now. I'm waiting for those odds to kind of settle. I don't mind the William Skull performance against Canelo. I do have to do my due diligence a bit more and watch one more Bank fight. Let's pull up these odds real quick. And guys, these live streams during the week, I'll let you guys guide them as well. And as we're doing, if there's any specific point you want to talk about and you're a JSB insider, you support the channel and you're part of our community, feel free to shoot away because there's a lot of fights, and I'll get to your questions as they come in. And just do me one favor, just like the video as you check in, and then feel free to ask away. I'm going to take Don Julio's question real quick. We'll pull these odds up. Okay, so here's currently on the money line. Oh, we do got some props. Look at the bookie. The bookies are kind of showing us some love. Usually this early in the week, we're not getting method of victory props. We're not getting sort of, how the fight will end. So currently on the money line, you got Jacob Bank, $2.40. 100 on Bank gets your money back plus 140. On sports bet in Australia, the draw is 16-1. So they kind of put you in a position here on this betting app to do a 3-way betting pick. So if it's a draw, your bet is dusted. This is why I always tell the Aussies, if you're betting on boxing, use Bet365. I use Sportsbet because it's easier to navigate when I'm live streaming. Skull $1.64, 100 on him on the money line gets your money back plus 64 bucks. 64% return. If you're a heavy hitter, a heavy bettor, you really like William Skull, 64%, depending on your bankroll, is a great pick. It's a great parlay piece. I like Skull on points, 245. Give me about 48 hours until I make my decision. Right now, I am leaning Skull on points. Let's do some more due diligence and take a look at Jacob Banks' box rec for you. We know with William Skull, we just saw Skull. Jacob Banks 17-0, 9 knockouts out of 1,600 Out of 1,798 fighters in the world at super middle, he's ranked 13. Who's the best opponent that Bank has fought? Diallo, maybe? Not a lot there. Not a lot there on Jacob Banks' box rec. He's from Denmark. I like Skull here, guys. Like, that's not my official prediction, but as I'm looking at his resume, no offense to the Denmark boxers, but when we're thinking about pedigree, who they've been in there with, I mean, let's go back to those odds real quick. We could get William Skull on points. I think that might be the move. Just stop, jump, and Julio. When I make this official, you'll be the first to know. You're in the Discord. I'll put this up, but I was kind of keeping an eye on it yesterday at the odds, and I do want to watch one more fight of Jacob Bank. But bro, William Skull on points. Yeah, I like 245, mate. Right there, 245, 100 gets our money back plus 145 bucks. That's where I'm leaning right now. 24 hours from now, we'll go over this. I think that's great value. I got to watch one more fight from Bank, and then I'll make it official. As you guys are tapping in, I'm going to take your questions, especially if you guys are insiders. Can't find much tape on Bank, but from the tape I've watched, I'll box him easy. Yeah, that's where my intuition is as of now. I did send a couple tweets out, not tweets, messages out. I don't have Twitter. To some of the boys in my WhatsApp group, and somebody said they had. There is that one Jacob Bank fight I do want to watch, but once I make my decision, I'll let you guys know. Julius, Moneyline Parlay, Adamas, Ryo, Carrington, Miller, Keyshawn. I love it. Guys, shout out to Julius. Friday, my time. So Friday in Australia, Thursday, Central Time in America. We got one of JSB's secret weapons coming on the live stream. Big Julius from, says Julius, Alabama. But New Orleans, the South, he's coming on the live. So, get ready for that. Skull's defense is impressive. Yeah, for sure. Kona, hello, yo. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I like your photo, too. Jerron Ennis, one of the best in the business. We can't wait to see Ennis continuously step up. Look great against Lima. We want to see that Virgil fight. Maybe Ennis versus Xander Zayas would be great. Ennis versus the winner of Josh Kelly versus Murtazaev would be great. Ennis versus Fedora would be great. Ennis versus Tim Zhu. Ennis versus Zhu. What's up, youngin? I'm scared of that skull fight. Look, mate. Look. I'm just going straight up off of initial intuition. When I look at that fight, I'm not scared of that fight. It's not. There are some fights, and I get it. I get that hesitation. It happens to us every week. I told you guys last week with the Zuffa card, I was most worried about the Zuffa card, and we hit 100% of the fights. We missed the dog, but we hit our parlay. Plus 550. And guys, even when we hit, people are going to talk trash. So use that scared feeling as kind of like tap into that. Because I see William Skull outclassing this guy on points. So that's not my official pick yet, based on what I've seen. Bank stopped former champ Tyron Zouge. So you like it? You like what you see in Bank? I'm waiting to see more tape on him. But there's Tyron Zouge. I mean, was he a full world champ? He wasn't a world champion. He was a WBA regular. Yeah, so I'm sorry, but I don't consider I don't consider regular belts world champions. Yeah, it was like a global belt. I mean, he fought Rocky Fielding in 2018. If I'm missing something, this kid was never a full champion. Yeah, it wasn't a full champion. So you could take that for however you want it. So yeah, I still yeah, that 7 I still like I like William Skull in that fight. What's up, Brandon? Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate the support. I'm worried about Skull coming off big Canelo payday. How big was the payday? Was it a big payday? I think the opposite with that. I think William Skull, the competitor that he is, I think he reads comments. I think that he's going to come out with something to prove. If it, I'll make it official soon enough. But off jump, I mean, Skull on points at 245, guys. Value play. I'll make it official soon. I'm waiting to see that one more fight from Jacob Bank. It wasn't the Googe fight though. You consider the nah, it's not a regular belt's not a legit title. It's on the path to a title. It's on the path to a world title. But if we stood and called every fighter ever who has held a regular belt a world champion, do you know how big that list would be? The regular belt is just a step to the full title. Guys who have regular belts, they wouldn't call themselves a full world champion. You it's a step in the right direction, but by no means are they world champions. You can't say Okay, put it this way: when we're doing breakdowns of videos and we're talking about how many world champions did said fighter beat, how many world champions did said fighter lose to, when you're adding those up, when you're counting how many world champions did Terrence Crawford beat, how many world champions has Devin Haney beat, you're not counting regular champions in that list. You're only counting full world champions. And that's kind of what I adhere to when I'm even doing my breakdowns and consideration on who's going to win the fight. Tyron Gage wasn't a world champion, but Canelo was. Canelo was. So, nice chat so far, boys. Everybody leaning towards Skull. Me too. I'm like 60-40 Skull. Unless I get blown away by what Jacob looks like in his last fight. I'm still waiting to get that tape. I'm probably going to stick with Skull. I did not mind how Skull fought Canelo. I'm sorry. Hot take. Clip it. I don't give a shit. I'm not that mad about how Skull fought Canelo. It was up to Canelo. Canelo's the champion. Canelo's the one who didn't cut the ring off. I felt like William Skull, his game plan, he executed a game plan. Was it nice? Hell no. Was it pretty? No. His boots sure were when they were dripping gold off of him. That was my favorite thing about that fight. Julius, thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate you. Butiev could be a dog of the week. Guys, I mean, Sergey Boacek has not looked great. Sergey Boacek has not looked great lately. We just saw Brandon Adams. Even the fight against Michael Fox, we broke down that exchange in the 10th round, and that was a knockdown. I mean, as quiet as it's kept. Rewatch it. Michael Fox dropped him. That was a knockdown. He has not looked great. I think Butiev could be live. I 100% think Butiev is live. And I love where Julius's head's at. The dog money, baby. The dog money, the sharp money. Boxing Booth, what's up, brother? Guys, everybody tapping in. Thank you for the support. Good to see you in the chat booth. Agree, Julius Boa has been in too many wars. Yeah, there's something there, right? There's something there when you're looking at his balance, the central nervous system. Basically our operating system that it controls our energy output, how much conditioning. Our central nervous system really is a key player in human performance. And when you're looking at a guy, when you start thinking a guy's been in too many wars, you could see subtleties in their balance. You could see subtleties in their movements, in their sort of angles. Boacek does not look right to me. He didn't look right against Brandon Adams. He didn't look right against Michael. And we know that style doesn't age well. He gets hit a lot. I think give me some time. I have to look at Butiev though. Skull by way of Cuban skull. The Cubans need one, man. The Cubans have been down. They need to get up. The Cubans have been down. They need to get up. Jacob Banky. I'm not going to judge you for never hearing of him. Not definitely far from a household name. Don Julio. I don't like how Jacob lunges in a lot and very hittable against C-level opponents. You can't do that with a shot boxer like Skull. Yeah, unless I see something in Jacob Banks' tape that makes me think he's going to be able to cut the ring off, manage distance, and counter box William Skull. I think Skull on points is going to be the move. Sarius had issues with making 154. Maybe that's it. Maybe he moves up. This fight's still 154, you think? Because I think he weighed in at 158 against Michael, right? Are we getting that fight right now? Yeah, we are. Look at these odds. These odds are tempting, boys. So Razat Butaev versus Sari Boacek, $1.43. Look, I don't feel comfortable betting on Boacek, man. I'm 0-2 in Boacek's last two betting on him. I bet him to knock out Michael Fox. He won a decision, and I lost. And I bet him to beat Brandon, and Brandon was like, hell no. Hell no, hell no. Brandon Adams, mate, no one talks about him. Fought his ass off. And great boxer. I thought Boacek was going to be able to turn it around. He's getting close to being on a... I was talking to Tommy today about Khalil Ko. We were talking about Khalil Ko, and I mentioned no bet list, and he was like, He was like, it's the opposite. He was like, if you have a no bet list and Ko continues to box, he's going to be on the bet against list. I was like, that's a good way of putting it. I never thought about having a bet against list. So maybe I need to redefine my Brandon Figueroa philosophy, because initially I was on the no bet ban Figueroa family boxing list, but now I'm on the bet against Figueroa. So whenever Brandon fights, I'm definitely betting against him, and that includes against Nick Ball. And I think I'm going to start doing that with Khalil Ko too, the bet against list based off of what we've seen. But have we just watched the most technical fight on UFC 324? Tell us. Tell us. I like Starling on Pro Box. This is an interesting one, guys. I wrote in my notes last night during our live stream. Shout out to Castillo. Or, yeah, he said he's a hidden gem. I forgot which user said it. I think one of our users, Castillo, somebody on our live stream yesterday told me to write down Starling Castillo's a hidden gem. My issue with the Starling Castillo bet, though, is I taped his opponent. Brian Flores is a dog, dude. Like, I'm not so sure Castillo beats Brian Flores. Did you guys watch the Lindolfo Delgado fight? We got a gift. We picked Delgado. I'm not saying it was, it was a close fight. It was a close fight. I'm a fan of Delgado. He's always in these close back and forth fights. And lately in these close fights, us as the bettors, we've been getting paid. But Brian Flores, I think he got dropped. Did he get dropped in that fight? His one loss was to Delgado. Flores was down in round 3. That's what I thought. He deducted a point in round 7. What was that scorecard? $95-93. Look at this. So look at the scorecards of Delgado versus Flores. And Flores was dropped once and had a point deducted. 95-93, judge won. 92-96. One of the judge gave it to Flores. I'm going to have to rewatch this fight in 96-92. And we just saw Lindolfo Delgado. He might be on our no-bet list because what he just did against Goyaz, I thought he was going to look great against Goyaz, considering Goyaz was coming off that awful performance against our boy in Tijuana, in which he fought a 6-rounder, and I thought he lost. And they gave him the victory. And then the fight before that, he just got a beatdown against Subro Matias. And then Goyaz all of a sudden came to life against Lindolfo. And a lot of people, me included, thought Lindolfo lost. But hey, we won on our bets. So I think this Brian Flores fight is a close fight, man. So I still I'm not convinced on who I'm taking. I know a lot of guys like Starling here, but I need to do some more work on that. Other dude seems a bit limited. What's up, Money Meech? Saul Salas was in Flores corner versus Bunch. That's the fight I'm going to look for. I like the over distance on Castillo and Flores. It should be a close fight, shouldn't it? Castillo beat Bunch easy, but Flores just got past Bunch. Okay. I'll watch that. That's the fight I've been told to watch. Lindolfo is on upset alert after his last performance. Yeah, yes, he did, boy. Lindolfo. Boy, that was early days of the JSB Discord. I feel like we're getting way more well-rounded in the Discord with the professionalism. Even though it's the biggest it's ever been. We have over 350 people. We've done a good job. Shout out to our moderators too, with getting rid of like the trolls, like the dudes who like, you know what I'm saying. But this fight, Delgado versus Goyaz, boy, the Discord was getting chatty. Do you remember that? Because Lindolfo was my lock. And I never used that word. I was like, Lindolfo is going to dog walk Goyaz. Based off of Goyaz's last few performances, all of a sudden Lindolfo just didn't show up. It was kind of crazy. All right, let's go down this list, boys. Let's go down. This is like a shopping list. We're window shopping right now. All right, so I'm still torn on Flores versus Starling. The chat, you boys, have me leaning Castillo from yesterday and today. I might have to do a chat parlay. Guys, what do you think of that? We should put together a chat parlay in which you put it together, and then I tell you guys. Melissa Mortensen, I'm not getting guys with so many fights. I am not getting stoked about these ladies. Oliver Zarin versus Michaela Veselu. Dina Thorsland versus Leila Furtado. Greatest Krause versus Creighton. Greatest Krause, we know who that is. Maybe by knockout if we get a prop. I'm waiting for that. Put an asterisk by that fight and wait. Be patient throughout the week to see if you could get greatest by stoppage. We've hit his last two fights by stoppage. Elif Turhan, she's the one who throws hands. She's the one who just goes for knockouts. We've talked about Jacob Bank and William Skull. I'm leaning Skull right now, 60-40. I also like Skull on points. Fran Hennessy versus Ellie Boutel. Both ladies are young in their careers. They both have maybe 7 to 8 fights. Fran Hennessy is kind of the promotional star, Starling. Starling Castillo. Starlit is the better word I was looking for. These odds are a bit close. I kind of had my eye on this last night when I was watching film. And I didn't, I was looking at their box recs. I was starting to, in my own process of film study, I was starting to kind of keep an eye on this fight. And I was wondering why Ellie Boutel is, those odds are a bit close. I know Fran is, very green. So I'm going to stay away for now. But Fran is the one with all the marketing. She's the one with all the shine in the pub, the younger one. And it seems like people are backing her. I like how she operates. I like her game, but, I got to see more of Ellie Boutel. Now, Padley versus Belmetti. Padley, great story. But for him to be a 4-1 dog against Jude Belmetti, I'm like, I don't know, man. Put an asterisk by that fight, Padley versus Belmetti. Murtazala versus Kelly. Did you guys watch my breakdown? I put this breakdown. I'll debate somebody on this. I'm all about a debate on this on Kelly on points plus 375. Look, if you watch my stats on live video on Kelly versus Bakram, I mean, when I watch Murtazalev's tape, if you were just comparing tape, I don't know, man. I don't like a lot what I see on Bakram's tape when I watch him. The physical side, he's a big dude. This guy used to fight at 160. He's had fights at 168, I think. I think he's weighed in when he was coming up. I don't know if that's how they were doing in Russia. But, it looked like he wasn't cutting a lot of weight to make some of his earlier fights. At least 166 he was fighting at. And you could see it. 5'11", big-ass hands. And, he wants to punch. He wants to land that backhand. The more tape I watch of him, the more I keep questioning Tim Tszyu. It's kind of like Murtazalov is the one who hasn't really changed anything. His feet aren't that good. His entrances aren't that good. What is really that good is what he wants to do. Pressure you and punch with you. And Tim Tszyu said, okay, I'll put my back on the ropes and I'll punch with you. And it's like, it's hard for me to get past. And he only fought Tszyu for about 7 minutes, okay? That fight got stopped in the third. 7 minutes over about 500 days ago. So 500 days ago from fight night this weekend was his last fight. He fought 7 minutes. Before those 7 minutes, he went life and death with a really small and aging on his way out Jack Colque. He was, they say, month of Ramadan, he was fasting. I get all that. He still went life and death, and he was still down on the scorecards against a small, tiny Jack Colque and had to get the 11th round stoppage. That was October, or that was, I think, April, May, June area of 2024. And then you look at his resume and you're like, what pops off the resume for Bakram? What jumps off of his resume? What has he really done? And then you look his activity since 2020. Since 2020, he's fought 5 times, 6 times, once a year, and we know he didn't fight in 2025. And Josh Kelly is the one who put his hand up for this fight. Kelly was asking for this fight. Kelly shared on his Instagram 9 months ago asking for this fight. So that dispels the rumor mill that nobody wanted that fight. Bakram just turned 33 years old. By no means is that an old man, but he's the older guy. I think Josh could outbox him. So, I like value play. The fights in Newcastle. I mean, Josh Kelly on the money line is already playing plus 280. Josh Kelly on points plus 375. The path to victory for Bakram is to bully him, walk him down. Hopefully Josh fades, and Kelly's, the questions are his durability. But I mean, you look at Kelly's performance, he reflex fighter. He's gotten better and better with each fight, with kind of conserving and not fading. In my breakdown, I talked about the Avenetian stoppage. I talked about the Ray Robinson draw, which Ray Robinson, I mean, watch his say, he's a great Philly fighter. Good Philly fighter. Fighting this week, still fighting too. The Troy Williamson fight pretty much dominated Troy. Troy just came out and had a career rejuvenating victory over Callum Simpson. That victory aged pretty well. Look, we got to find value here. And finding value for me, and we do this every week, Josh Kelly at plus 280. When you put all these factors in, who's the hometown kid? Who's the A side? Who's the younger dude? Who's the more active guy? Career, like the resume. I mean, there's no, other than Murtazalev's performance against Tim Tszyu, are you guys really rating that performance? So that's what I'm leaning on. You guys know where my money's at. My dog of the week is Josh Kelly there. I put that bet in 2 days ago. Check the bottom. Guys, I didn't realize that Johnny's Babies, the Twitter boys, I didn't realize that Johnny's Babies, that it was a thing to like post. They like seeing the time on the ticket. So that, I mean, I didn't know that was a thing. So check the time. And from here on out, all my tickets will have that time. I'm trying to learn. Thank you, Babies, for teaching me that. But I put that bet in 2 days ago. I got him at plus 280, and that's a bet I'll live and die with. How could you be mad taking a plus 280, a hometown kid? I think it's his time. I think we're gonna hear and new with Josh Kelly. Murtazalov is a killer. I don't think so. I don't think he is, man. He has Boots and Virgil fighting each other for no belt rather than face. That's on Boots and Virgil, man. It really is on Boots and Virgil. I don't know. How could you be high on Matias but call Bakram overrated? How could you be high on Matias? Bakram overrated? Did I say overrated? Bakram will hit Kelly harder than he ever been hit. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. I like it. Kelly is 31 as a fat switch fighter. Kelly gonna fade mid rounds. We've seen it before. This is what I'm betting against. Obviously, we know this has happened. This is what I'm betting against. Rewatch the Colque fight, man. My man was getting hit. My man was getting hit with clean shots. Hey Johnny, damn hot here today. 45. Murtazaev quick counters. And I initially thought see him taking Kelly out late. I could see it happening too. No. Kelly's definitely the questions on Kelly is going to be his durability, and the questions on Murtazaev is will he be able to have the feet to stop Kelly? I think Kelly's jab is better than people think. I think he punches harder than people think. I think Murtazaev's tailor made for Kelly. I gotta be honest with you. I've been liking this matchup for months. So yeah, I think Bachram's tailor made. I don't think Bachram has the feet to beat Josh Kelly. And it's boxing, not knockout. So that's that. I'm gonna talk about I just uploaded Carlos Adames versus Ammo Williams. So that's on the playlist. Guys, join the Discord to get all of the picks and become part of our community. JSB Insiders, a couple bucks a month. It's pinned in the comment section. You also get access to our Patreon. I give all my bets, all my picks in the Patreon as well. YouTube, you get full access to the live stream, stuff like this, and Instagram as well. So if you're on Instagram, you want to connect with me there, I'll follow you back. Johnny Stofko on the Grizzle. Just send me a message and let me know you came from YouTube. All right, let's talk about Austin real quick and Carlos. All right, guys. So I first want to start this one out with, if you would have told me a couple years ago Austin Williams would be fighting for a world title, I would have called you a liar. So first and foremost, shout out to Ammo Williams for literally picking himself off of the canvas, losing a really exciting fight to Hamza Shiraz, fought twice last year, coming off the victory against Vasquez, and then a kind of a really sort of flat, tricky fight against Patrice Volney, a fight in which we broke down. You watch that fight, you score that fight 5 times, you probably could have scored it either way. They gave it to Ammo. So, coming off of that Shiraz deflating stoppage loss, got back on the right track. And with the Vasquez victory, he's put himself in a position to fight for a world title. Carlos Adames, in my opinion, has been that guy. Carlos Adames, I remember when I first heard of him, a video went viral back in 2017 when he was fighting, I think, at 147. And he was sparring. It was like a gym war. He was sparring Bud Crawford. This 2017 Bud, I think Bud still might have been a 135 or maybe 140. And it was very competitive, and they were going back and forth. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And that was Adames. And it's been pretty cool to see Adames pave out this career for himself. Dominican fighter, aggressive front four, but Adames really has skills to fight you, at range. He can fight you in the pocket. He has good feet. He has a good jab, good backhand. He's a really solid fighter, and I think that was on full display against Hamza Shiraz. I feel, the first 4 rounds were kind of close. Adames slow starter in that fight, but then he just ran away with it from the 5th round onwards. How much of that was Shiraz just disappearing? He said he was injured. The facts are this: he moved to 68 after that fight, and thank God those Riyadh judges didn't rob Adames. They called it a draw, but Adames got to keep his belt. Shiraz moved on. This is Adames' next fight, and I think what we're going to see in a guy with ammo. When you think about Ammo Williams, you think about he's 21, Adames, or he's 29, Adames is 31. Ammo's a southpaw, super green, athletic, explosive, comes in with his chin high, exits with his chin high, tells the whole world he wants to throw that backhand. Really fun fighter to watch, though. Just cheer for. But in this fight, I think we are going to see why it's boxing and why pedigree matters, why skill set matters. It's the sweet science for a reason, and Adames does all of that really well. So on the money line, $1.25 isn't too sexy. I got Adames winning this fight, so on the money line, I'll put that on a parlay, probably a 4-legger, and juice that up to maybe plus 110 somewhere along the lines. Later in the week, I'll get sexy, pick it by knockout or points. I'm not going to make that decision yet. I do like the over in this fight as well. And right now it's 50-50. Will the fight go the distance? So on the money line, we'll start there. You guys know I like Adames. And it's only Tuesday. We got about Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 full days to get sexy with our method of victory picks. And another reason to join our community. Because in the community, you don't just get my picks of the method of victory. You get all the boys. Okay, so you said here's my pushback. Bachram literally ruined Tim Tszyu. Listen to Tim interview after the fight. If Bachram ruined Tim Tszyu, Bachram's the one who hasn't fought since that fight. Tim Tszyu has fought 3 times. Not that ruined. You know? I mean, camp change. Pedro Diaz in the house. I mean, I don't like the inactivity of Bachram. I'm able to look past the Tim Tszyu fight. I'm able to look past that. And that's what I'm leaning on. Like, looking past that fight, there's nothing in Bachram's tape that I don't think that worries me. I think Kelly at plus money I think Bachram's tailor-made for him. Boots said he would fight Kelly if he wins, but is dead silent mentioning Murtaza. I mean, I don't really like. I don't pick my winners and losers based on sort of like what other fighters are saying. I know what you're saying, Skate. I know what you're saying. I think that's a media narrative. I don't think Murtazalev's the boogeyman at all. Kelly last fight was a complete fluke. Kelly fought a late there. You don't like Flavio Bea? Come on, baby. You don't like that first round knockout? That 31-0 record, boo-boo? You can only fight who they put in front of you. Ammo's a fast switch fighter that relies heavily on reflex when ammos start mouth breathing. Fun to watch, though. Ammo's a guy I cheer for. I just don't see him winning the fight. What's up, Blessings? 4957. How you doing? All right, we're going to move on. We're covering a lot of ground here. Guys, we're 37 minutes in, so if there's any fight you got questions about and you want to derail what I'm talking about, just mention it. If you're just tuning in, make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe, and join our community. So, Fran Hennessy, Padley, I told you put an asterisk by the Padley fight. Bachram Josh, we talked about it. Jarrell Miller versus Kingsley Abbey. Shushu versus Castro, we'll talk about it. Okay, let's talk about Keyshawn real quick. Let's talk about Keyshawn and these odds real quick. All right, guys. There is a 100% value play here. These odds, Jermaine Ortiz at plus 430 is crazy to me. Jermaine Ortiz on points at plus 900 is crazy. I would be crazy not to sprinkle something just as a value play, Jermaine on points. I mean, these odds are like, I would be dumb not to sprinkle whatever your unit is, throw a half unit on Jermaine on points. Am I sitting here right now saying I'm taking that big upset? Because I don't see any. I see everybody, the whole internet taking Keyshawn. But there is a strong, even in the Murtaza versus Kelly fight, there's a stronger argument here, I feel. I feel this has the strongest argument for the dog to win. When you're looking at pros and cons, when you're looking at Keyshawn moving up a division, when you're looking at Keyshawn being stripped at 35, when you're looking at Keyshawn missing weight, Keyshawn's out of the ring issues, Keyshawn changing his camp back to his childhood camp. Big changes like that are questions psychologically a fighter brings into the ring. Then with Jermaine, they call him the technician for a reason. The one thing about Ortiz that you will know is he's always prepared. He's professional. He does everything really well. He has a great pedigree as a pro, way more experience as a pro, has been in there with way better talent. Look at their resumes. So, I'm just for the sharp bettors out there, the ones with a nice little bankroll. Why not sprinkle something on Maine on points at plus 900? That is absolutely insane. And if we want to talk about who have they fought and what have you done for me lately, and who are their best wins, granted when Jermaine stepped up, he lost to Loma and he lost to Teofimo Lopez, but that Teofimo Lopez fight was close. The Loma fight was close. It wasn't a whitewash. I'm gonna bring up Ortiz's resume real quick. "29 years old. Keyshawn's 26. 20-2 with 1 draw, 10 knockouts. 5'8", 69-inch reach. I mean, I think he's a dark horse in this division, man. People sleep on Jermaine Ortiz. He's not a one-punch knockout guy. He doesn't have, nothing about him. You could say he's the best in the division. But sometimes when, in these high-level fights, sometimes it's just a certain fighter's time. Let's look at the scorecards against Teo. One judge had it 115 to 113. Another judge had it 115 to 113. And another judge had it 117 to 111. Rewatch that fight. I don't mind 115 to 113. Very close fight. No one mentions Jermaine Ortiz as being in the same category as Teo. Watch, they literally fought before. You know what I'm saying? We have an example of how good Jermaine is. He's a great, he's bordering on good to great boxing. We've seen it time and time again where the guy going into the fight is, more athletic, more power, everything on paper, but his mind might not be ready and he loses. This is boxing. Let's see the scorecards against Loma. Look at the Loma scorecards. 116 to 112, 117 to 111, 115 to 113. This guy, Jermaine Ortiz, is 2 scorecards away from being undefeated. 2 scorecards with 2 rounds. I mean, now let's look at Keyshawn. I said in the Discord earlier today, guys, my job is never to make anybody second guess your bets. My job is also not to sit here and call myself an expert. You've never heard me say that. I'm simply a conveyor of what I see in these fights and an additional perspective for you guys who equally share this passion of boxing for me. So this is what we do. If you want a YouTube channel that's going to just bash one side and honey dick the other, that's not this channel. What we do, if you've ever done any sort of, research, this probably goes back to my undergrad doing sports psychology. Part of that undergrad degree, we had to do observational studies in which you go into the field and you observe and you have to break things down on both sides to come up with to prove the hypothesis right. So this is what we're doing. So we look at both sides of the token and we come up with narratives for both sides. And then, come fight night or whenever you put your wager on, you're leaning on whatever you feel the best information is. Now, Keyshawn, only 13 pro fights. 5'9". He's going to be about an inch taller, an inch in the reach. It's going to be the athleticism, the power, his speed, that sort of stuff. Controlling of range and distance, his timing, that sort of stuff. By the way, one of my favorite fighters right now. Especially under 30. One of my favorite fighters under 30. Let's look at the resume. Baranchik stopped him. Gustavo Lemos stopped him. Medueno, points. Pedraza, Nahir Albright. He's fought good competition. Fight chains, Davis majority decision win, Texas commission. Jermaine beat Nahir Albright. Ortiz has a win over him. And we know Nahir Albright's really tough. It's just, I couldn't sit here and not break down both sides. Let's revisit those odds now and get back to what we're seeing. And this is why you understand why plus 900 on points for Ortiz, mate. Value play? I mean, you could still take Keyshawn on a parlay and behind closed doors, sprinkle something on the points decision for Jermaine, if that's what you want. I mean, there's no rules in this. I just think for Keyshawn's inactivity, for everything he's going through outside of there, we know how psychological boxing is. The first time you get hit or, after the 3rd round, you're down 2-0 or you're down 2-1 or 3-1 going into the 5th. And then those questions of the weight class. Did I make a bad decision changing coaches? Oh, here we go again. I'm going to let people down again. You know, they're all gonna fucking make fun of me again. We've heard him talk really openly and candidly about, you know, how that what happened in Norfolk affected him. There's a narrative on both sides, guys. Keyshawn is a better boxer, harder punch him. Yeah, that's right. I'm just catching up now to the chat. Guys, we're floating between 40 and 60. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, come join our community. CC in the house. My dog, Crispy Chris, is our guy. You can see the JSB Love in the house. Keyshawn been training with Shakur. Yeah, that's his older brother. Yeah, that's always been a thing. That great mentors. You know what I mean? He's around great people. Jermaine's around great people, though. Fight to go the distance. I like that. That might be the move. Yeah, it's an interesting one, man. What's up? Put on the elect, mate. Haven't seen you in a few weeks on the live. Appreciate you here. Jermaine was in a tough fight against Alamo. He got touched up. Believe his eye got closed. Yomar. Good call. Keyshawn hasn't done anything since he turned pro. Skate and review. Hot take. Little Showtime. Keyshawn not losing. Yeah, I don't think he loses. Like I said, we gotta talk about both sides, right? I think it's gonna be a tough fight for Keyshawn. I hope we see the best for if none of these out of the ring guys, I would not even be hesitating if none of these out of the ring issues happened. I just got to let you know that. Watch the videos when I featured Keyshawn on the channel. I wouldn't even be hesitating putting my money on him if, you know, he doesn't miss weight in his last fight. If that fight doesn't get scrapped, if it, like, you know what I mean? Keyshawn's basically created this sort of hesitation for all of us. Ortiz is more proven. He won't. Dude, Ortiz is a legit pro. What's up, Will? You give me a chance. Guys, I'm not a big Jarrell Miller fan. I'm probably not going to touch that fight. I know that my boy Julius has him on one of his parlays. I got PTSD from Jarrell Miller. I'm probably not going to touch that fight. And, you know, these sort of like fringe heavyweights, I try not to bet on these fringe heavyweights. Like, I know you guys are going to be asking me about Bosch, the UK heavyweight fight too. The kid Dave Allen stopped. I don't think they're doing Keyshawn any favors on the scorecards either, since he's on his last straw, make or break. You think it's a make or break fight at 26 years old? It's an interesting question to ask. Keyshawn might stop Jermaine. If all of this stuff didn't happen, and this fight takes place, if Keyshawn got through his last fight, he vacates 35, goes up to 40, fights Jermaine, it's hard, you know, where he was trending in my head, I don't know. I still think Jermaine's a great boxer. I think Ortiz is good. I don't think Ortiz gets stopped. I don't see Keyshawn stopping Ortiz, actually. I rate Ortiz's, you know, how he uses the entire ring, his defensive acumen, how he, you know, he's a lot better than people think. If anything, Ortiz is the one, in my opinion, who lately in his career, somebody brought up the Yomar Alamo fight. He's the one who's been turning the dial up a little bit more and more in his offense. So, you know, then again, he turns it up on offense. He punches with Keyshawn a little bit more than we expect, leaves openings for Keyshawn with his sharp timing and sharp counters. Yeah, it's an interesting fight, man. I'm really looking forward to that fight. I cannot wait to break the tape down. Cash out on Ray, and I'm putting it all on Teo and Diego Lopez. Nice, man. El Nasty 714. Moritaya, dog. Whole dog. Frankie B. Keyshawn was involved in a backstage altercation. Yep. 100%. That fight's off. Guys, double check. We'll do it together. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Adam Azim versus Gustavo Lemos is postponed. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. God Damn it. Adam Azim and Gustavo Lemos postponed after injuries to both fighters. Adam Azim's fight against Gustavo Lemos, which was scheduled for January 31st in London, is off with both fighters sustaining injuries. Azim, 14-0 with 11 knockouts, was in line to fight the Argentinian Lemos for the IBF number 2 junior welterweight position. Boxers confirmed Lemos initially sustained a hand injury with a replacement sought before Azim then picked up an injury of his own. The fight will be rescheduled, although a date has not been confirmed. Blah, 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 blah. Wow. Fran Hennessy versus Ellie Boutel will be the main event. Look at Fran Hennessy getting a main event slot already. Shout out. But there you go. Adam Azim fights off. I had Adam winning that fight. I think Teo, too much for Shakur. Teo got the better resume and is bigger. Teo's fought everyone. I don't really put too much in the 5-pound jump. And it's kind of like me proving my own point with Jermaine's 5-pound or Keyshawn's 5-pound jump. But they're happening for two different reasons. Keyshawn's is happening because he missed weight and he feels like a fresh start at 140 will be the sort of reset that he needs for his career moving forward. Shakur put his hand up to say, I'm going to move up to fight Teo, who's been running 140 to show people. And Shakur with a win, 4-division world champion. No one's talking about that. 26, 30, 35 at 40. Now we're putting Shakur in the Hall of Fame. If he's not already in the Hall of Fame. I rate Shakur. Teo at his best is going to give Shakur fits. Shakur at his best beats everyone and anyone in the world. What's up, GK? I understand the thoughts on Jermaine, but if the drama in Virginia didn't happen, Keyshawn would be... You think he's brutally stops Ortiz? Wow. So you think Keyshawn brutally stops Ortiz? Stops him. Look, I haven't uploaded my prediction yet. I'm gonna keep that we're in agreement, you and I, with the narrative of like, yeah, if Norfolk would have went another way, we probably wouldn't even be talking about the chances for Jermaine. But it did go the other way. Psychology is a real thing. Remember that Oliver McCall fight when McCall was crying in between rounds? Was it Lennox Lewis versus Oliver McCall? I'm sure, but we know about the psychology of what these fighters bring into the ring. When Teo gets in his flow state, he looks like a drunken master. He got a little bit of Emmanuel Augustus in him. He's fun to watch, man. He's one of my favorite guys to watch. But Shakur's a defensive savant. Shakur is a guy that, you could see in everything he does. It's like he is like he's boxed since he could crawl. Same with Teo. But, they just operate and have operated at a different sort of frequency. Teo's been in there. The resume is stronger. We've seen him lose. We've seen him dropped. It's a fun fight. Shout out to both gents. I'm glad we're seeing it. 100%. You're not getting a fanboy situation here. I like both fighters. So if I pick Shakur, it's not because I hate Teo. If I pick Teo, it's not because I don't like Shakur. I like both fighters. And you guys know that by now behind the channel. I'm glad we're getting to see it. Shout out to Shakur for moving up to 40. How is Shakur's defensive running praised? But running? What do you mean? But yet the little running Andy did was enough to lose the fight by... Okay. Shakur's not a runner, though. Shakur legit is a front foot pocket fighter. Did you not watch the Camarón fight? Maybe, are you talking about the De Los Santos fight? I think you're talking about one fight. Look, I'm not going to judge a fighter from one fight. Allegedly, Shakur, had no hands against that fight. And, he used the entire ring to get a decision in a very sort of, very controversial fight, obviously. But what he did to William Zepeda, he wasn't running. He was catching, shooting him the entire time against a pressure forward volume guy. And Shakur is pretty much staying in the pocket, catching, countering you, and using his defense. And then when he needs to use the ring, it's there. Not many guys could. You can't say that about many guys in the history of boxing that could do that has that as an option. if catch and shoot isn't working in the pocket, use your feet to use the entire ring to avoid an aggressive puncher and still win. That's what Shakur did. The dude is super diverse. So if anything, that proves my point. Jermaine doesn't have power to make Keyshawn. That's the issue. That's the issue. But will Keyshawn be hesitant? Will Keyshawn be hesitant to punch? We don't know, man. What if Keyshawn's sluggish? What if he gets out to a slow start? What if Jermaine jumps out to a lead? There's a lot of what ifs. There's a lot of what ifs for me not to throw. Even if you throw $10 on Jermaine on points and just say, Johnny, you just flushed $10 down the drain, you get 100 back. I mean, I'm sure you've spent $10 in way worse ways. Just saying. I think he will hurt him bad. Keyshawn is very explosive, and if you watch the Adorno fight, Jermaine almost quit. Keyshawn is like a shark in the water when Keyshawn, dude. That's why we love him. That's why he's so fun to watch. I'm a fan, bro. I get it. It's almost like your little brother or like somebody you care about. They do something and you're disappointed in them. That's how I think a lot of us feel with Keyshawn. Like we're just kind of like disappointed in him with how things are going. Because I don't want to see a situation. You know what I mean? I want to see him put himself around the right people. I do like to move back home though. Some people are making it out like it's this big drastic. He left Bomac, but his mentor is still Shakur Stevenson. You're telling me he can't call Bud anytime he wants? And then going back to his home, these are the guys who brought him up through the amateurs, through the Olympics, Norfolk. Some home cooking, if you're insular about it, some home cooking never hurts you. So I don't really mind the Bomac camp change. What's up, Eddie? Just tuning in. Butsev could upset Boacek possibly. I think so too. I don't like this. What we've seen of Boacek post Virgil is, I feel it shouldn't be controversial to say, a style in Boacek that doesn't age that well. Brandon Adams, Michael Fox dropped him. So, what's up, Christos? The boss. What are your thoughts on Hot Rod versus Vosdick, man? My initial thoughts are like fight not to go the distance, and I kind of mentioned it yesterday. Or we could just see two guys going, gas pedal, and then neither guy is like, each guy is too tough, and then it turns into like an exhaustive hug fest late. Give me a couple days, but I'm looking forward to that fight. What's up, E Blazer? Sonny Edwards saying he didn't want to be there. Talking about Ortiz. All videos I've seen on Keyshawn lately, he's predicted a knockout. He looks confident. I ain't gonna lie. Keyshawn looks confident. He's always confident. He doesn't look. You know how there's like a pseudo confidence where they're doing too much and they're using the confidence as a projection to kind of like cover up an insecurity. That's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a very confident Keyshawn. I'm seeing he looks loose. He doesn't look stiff. He doesn't look like he's carrying around. He looks like he's about to go out there and have a great performance. You know what, Julius? I'll do my breakdown soon. My breakdown's coming. Guys, I posted 2 breakdowns today. You got 2 today, boys. Those things take me 4 hours to do. Y'all better give me some love. Those stats don't lie videos take me 4 hours, and I got 8 more coming for you guys. So Murtazawa versus Kelly is up, and Adames versus Ammo is up. Obviously, all these big fights are coming up, and we're going live. So appreciate the support. Charlemagne the Czar. Yeah, forget the God. We got the Czar in the house. To Shushu make light work of Castro. I'm expecting Shushu at his best. I'm banking on Carrington putting it all together against Castro. I think he has the skill to do it. I think the time is right now for him to do it. Yeah, I think he's gonna put a career sort of like exclamation mark with this performance. In the same ilk as Tiger Johnson versus Flaz and Richardson Hitchens versus George. I think this is that. I think this is that performance for Shushu. No fight to go the distance. Seems like the move Shushu can fight to go the distance. Hmm. I'm not mad at that. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. We've hit big before on Shushu on points. I'm praying PBK can make the distance. It was sad watching. I know. He was younger though, GK. He's learned a lot. Ava dialed it up too, boy. He just unravels, and I hope he's made those. Yeah, this is what we're betting on. This is what we're betting on, right? We're betting on a more mature, a more educated, a more seasoned, and a more experienced Kelly. Because when a fighter deteriorates and melts, it's not the isolated him falling to the canvas. It's the overall outcome of the story of the fight that got him there, right? The story that got Josh there against Ava was all of the wasted movements, all of that reflex style, the ineffectiveness, the inefficiencies of his style at the time. And so when he melted and getting touched up, he had cut here, his feet stopped, he's standing in front of Ava, he kind of panicked, and then the outcome is what we saw. Now, I totally expect, and it's what we've seen in his career since then, adjustments. Way more conservative with his energy. Way more conservative. Still there. Still, when he feels like he's cooking, that moment he had against Williamson where he's on the ropes, he's doing all that, and the fight's coming to an end, all that. He's still Kelly in that sense. But it's going to be the in-between. He needs to stay switched on. I think he needs to feel Murtazayev's power early. I think his athleticism, his timing, his feet, and his power. I think Murtazayev is tailor-made for Kelly, guys. I'm not sold on Bakram. I've never been sold on Bakram. Pre-Tim Tszyu fight, post-Tim Tszyu fight. I don't like Bakram's feet. I don't like his entrances. He's not really a tricky fighter. We know he has big hands. He has big power. It's boxing. Circle away from that right hand. Bait him into something. I think Kelly's counterboxing is going to be on full display, and I think his backhand is going to be there to land. I think Murtazayev. I want to see, dude. Murtazayev against Jack Kolke showed me a lot. I mean, Kolke, what, 5'7", 5'8"? Kelly's listed at 5'10" and a half. Bakram's 5'11" and a half. Kelly's much bigger than Kolke, and where their careers are, the inact. Look, I can't get past 6 fights in 6 years. That's a tough one for me with Murtazayev. 33 years old. Why has he been so inactive his entire career? His resume doesn't scream boogeyman to me. You remove 7 minutes of his career versus Tim Tszyu. He put together 7 minutes against Tim Tszyu, and he's the boogeyman? Tim Tszyu? I mean, Terrell Gausha dropped Tim Tszyu. Are we just going to forget about that? Shout out to Terrell Gausha, too. Terrell Gausha, he was a U.S. Olympic team. He dropped Tszyu early. So 7 minutes. I watched Tim's entire career. 7 minutes against Tszyu told me more about Tszyu than it did about Murtazayev. Josh's team put his hand up to take this fight. It's in Newcastle. That camp thinks that whole camp is like, damn, they thought Kelly would be fighting for world titles by now. He wins this fight. Dude, massive fights at 54 for him. There's going to be a lot of, I think so, Eddie. And whether we win or lose, guys, Team JSB, we still good. I think Hot Rod, Vasa goes the distance. They're both 1-2 type of guys. It doesn't really lead to a knockout. That's what I was thinking too, big dog. Shakur will be hitting Teo clean all night. Teo hasn't shown the same power at 40 as he did at 35. The only way to beat Shakur, you got to hurt him, you got to outpoint him. But how do we? It's tough for us to say the only way to beat somebody that's never been beaten. Like, how do you beat Shakur? We've never seen him lose before. You know what I mean? How do you beat Shakur? If like the only way to beat him, how? Like, we've never seen him lose. I mean, yeah, you got to knock him. You knock anybody out, you win. but that's not really Teo's style. It's not really his game plan. Teo likes being pretty too, man. You know, he's so dynamic and so gifted and athletic. Teofimo Lopez gets away with a lot of things in the ring that not a lot of people get away with because of his athleticism. Rewatch the Arnold Barboza Jr. fight. You guys torched me because I took ABJ and I was live streaming. You guys also torched me because I said that wasn't the greatest. People were ordaining Teofimo Lopez as this was the greatest performance. And I think a lot of it had to do because that card, that Ring Times Square card, was so lackluster in terms of good moments up until Raleigh dropping Ryan Garcia. But ABJ was getting off on him. And ABJ is not the most athletic guy. ABJ doesn't have the best footwork. He doesn't have the best speed. Doesn't have pop. But he's a good, solid, world-class boxer. Arnold Barboza Jr. is one of my favorite boxers, guys. I'm sorry. I don't need a knockout artist, and I don't need an undefeated world champion to cheer for a guy. I like guys like Barboza Jr., who isn't born with the most gifts, but he uses the sweet science, and he becomes a master at it to be successful. And there were exchanges that the announcers weren't really calling. It was really biased performance. I'm not saying, ABG won by no means, but it wasn't a whitewash. It was competitive. It was definitely competitive enough. And so that's what Teo likes to do. So he's going to be prettier than Shakur? He's going to he's going to outbox Shakur? I don't know, man. How fun is this? Let's take a moment to say who the best sport in the world is. We're out here just shooting the shit about boxing. We ain't this is what we do. Guys, this is dope. I'm going with Teo this weekend. Bro, for me saying I'm taking Josh, of course I would agree if you take Teo. There's like 5 fights where we could both do that with, right? And so I think of these close 5 where there's 3-1 odds, 4-1 odds, one of them is going to hit. One of these fights are going to hit. And my hat's off to whoever gets it right. Jay Voorhees, who wins, Shushu or Espo? Look, Rafa, Shushu has a real fighter in front of him against Castro. Rafa Espinosa is one of my favorite current world champions. I don't like playing futures until it's signed, but I'd love to see that fight. I'm a fan of both guys. I mean, Rafa's had the more viral moments. They come from behind win over Robesi the first time, and then ever since then, what he did to Edward Vasquez, what he did to Robesi the second time. Rafa Espinosa is a goddamn nightmare. And he's the nicest guy out of the ring. And he fights so aggressive, punching down, dude. Rafa's a G, man. One of my favorite champions right now. How come you think that for Shushu when he had problems with Sagawa, Castro is live, even if you see... No, I think it's a tough fight. I think Castro is a tough fight for him. It just looked like he created a pace he couldn't keep up with. Hopefully he's learned. Yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. Because Bakram's going to be there. And these are adjustments that the great fighters make throughout their career. We talk about it every week on the channel. You never want to be a guy in a world title fight learning the holes in your game that you have to fix, right? You want to fix those holes in your game in camp. Josh already learned the holes in his game. So you would think if this kid is as skilled as people say he is, if he's as talented as people say is if he's as good as people say is, he has fixed those holes because it's not a talent issue. I feel it was a sort of decision-making process, not necessarily a fight IQ, but a miscalculation issue. Hey Johnny, do you ever bet bare knuckle? Now, what's up, Joe? I don't get odds on this book to bet bare knuckle, but I've done 2 documentaries that went to film festivals. One of the first documentary I shot was about bare knuckle boxing, Burmese bare knuckle. It was about Burmese bare knuckle boxing called Lethway. And I traveled the world with the world champion, Dave Leduc, for 2 years. We traveled to LA, to Sony. We pitched the documentary to Sony. That's all on the documentary. Cyprus, Myanmar. But I watch it, but the books I get in Australia, we don't get options to bet it. No such thing as the boogeyman. GK, my favorite thing about our community is because week in and week out, we could disagree on certain matchups, and then there's certain matchups we could agree on, and it's boxing that keeps us talking to each other. I always tell people, if they taught boxing in grade schools, there'd be no bullies. If boxing should be taught to every first, second, third, fourth grader, everywhere. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you respect. It teaches you to, have confidence in yourself. And when you respect the game like we respect the game, we come, back seeing eye to eye, week in and week out with our picks, even though we're not agreeing on everything. What's up, National Black Accord 494? I appreciate you. Bach, knockout or distance? Are you going to tune in Banks and Skull? We're going to be breaking down this stuff. Guys, I got a lot of work to do on the channel. 2 uploads for you today already. Check them out. Stats don't lie. Bacher Murder Zyla versus Josh Kelly. And Carlos Adames versus Ammo Williams. I'll catch you in the next one.